Well, today we wanted to put out a video on Canistel. Canistel is a tropical fruit. It's not very well known, but it's very unusual, and I happen to like it a lot. A lot of people on the internet seem to think that its nickname, egg fruit, is because the fruit tastes like egg. No, it does not taste like egg. The nickname comes from the look of the fruit, and the texture and the look, the colors, everything look like the yolk of a hard-boiled egg when the fruit is not quite ripe. When we have done videos in the past that involved Canistel, it was mostly grafting Canistel. And today we just wanted to throw out a bunch of little clips that we've assembled over the years, probably the last 2 years, on Canistel. We haven't gotten much fruit. This is our main tree, and right now it's got a lot of little fruit. They sort of blend into the background. Oh, here we go. There's a couple. So we're hoping for a good second crop. The first crop was exactly 2 fruit from this tree this year. The past it had a little bit more. So Canistel's a really interesting fruit. Here's more information. So this is one of our Canistel trees, and the fruit is ready to pick. At least this one is. It's turning color, and interestingly, we've got little flowers just on the next branch over. So working on the next crop while it's still got the first crop. So usually I just cut these off, and that will turn a beautiful color of sort of a golden yellow as it ripens. There's another one over here. Grab that. There's one down here. And one here. So little triplets here. So we have other fruit on the tree, but they just are not as large or as colorful as these, so we'll let those stay on and keep checking on them, because they do seem to ripen quickly. At least when you're not looking at them, they seem to. Yeah, these are still hard. A lot of people make the mistake of eating Canistel too early. You really have to wait till it gets very soft. You can't use the same standards that you use for, say, an apple or a pear, because if an apple started to flatten on the counter just by its own weight, you would think it's time to throw it away. And that, for Canistel, means that it's getting close to ready to eat. It really needs to be very soft in order to be fully appreciated. But of course this will turn color also. We don't leave the fruit on the trees until they're completely ripe, because they fall down on the ground or animals get to them, or both. And so this is a good stage to pick them, and then we take them inside and let them ripen on their own. So I was out checking on grafts this morning, and look what I found. Found one Canistel on the ground, and then this one on the ground. This is what happens when they ripen on the tree. Actually, there's not much to hold it once it ripens, so it just sort of splits and drops at the same time. But then there was one more on the tree, just a beautiful one. And something else we just noticed this morning is that these t-shirts, the color of this t-shirt should be called Canistel yellow. I mean, is this a great match or what? So Canistel, I actually ate half of this fruit when I found it on the ground. I know. Some of you are going to say, ooh, she's weird, and some of you already know that. But yes, it was very good. I like to eat it, Canistel fresh, but it's also great dehydrated. I usually try and cut it in slices and dehydrate. And another great thing to do with it is to make Canistel granola. Everybody's liked it in the past when I've made it. So one thing about Canistel is the seeds take a long time to germinate. This is really a tough seed coat. It's, I guess it keeps the animals from getting to the kernel. But actually I put this seed and this other seed in the kitchen sink because that gets them splashed with water but not immersed in water. And this is what happened. This other seed here broke open, and I imagine because the middle part here, the action part of the seed, swelled a little bit, and so this one is going to be on the fast track to germination. So I'm going to plant that. I'm hoping that I can get the rest of it out of there. It seems like it's gotten a little bit flexible, that protective coating. But what some people do to actually hasten the germination of these seeds is they use a nut cracker or a pair of pliers to crack this shell. So because the Canistel takes so long to germinate, a lot of times we'll find a little tiny seedling somewhere weird, and they just sort of spring up because it takes them a long time to get out of this protective coating without any help. So this is one of those seedlings that must have been sort of volunteered here years ago, because this is a pretty substantial plant. As I mentioned, it is a seedling, and there's a problem with the seedlings. One of the problems, of course, is that it takes longer to fruit, but the other problem is that a lot of times the fruit can be smaller than the fruit that the seed came from that produced the tree. So I have already, probably early this year, in the spring, I cut this back. You can see there's a pretty substantial cut right there. That's the main trunk. All of these are just sprout outs from that trunk. These have gotten too big. So I am intending to graft onto this very soon, but I'm just going to take this opportunity to cut this huge growth back. This is, 6 feet of energy I'm saving these seeds. Put this somewhere that I'll find them in a minute. So let's see. Oh, that's about 5 feet for that one. Okay, that's about 6.5. And we've got one more. It's probably not that interesting, but I thought as long as I'm cutting them, I'll see how big they are. So, and that's about 6 feet. So, cutting it back is also going to give these mango trees that are around it a lot more light. What I'm going to do is there's some smaller branches that have formed, and now more energy will go to them, and I can do a side veneer graft on toward the bottom of these branches that I just cut. So anyway, I am going to switch this from a seedling variety to Aurea because that's really a nice variety of Canistel, and I would like to grow more of it.